the J Class Regatta Newport 2011. Brought to you by the Newport Shipyard, Cox Communications, Quorum, Sail Newport, and T2P TV.
Newport, Rhode Island plays host to sailings past as the magnificent J-boats race again here on Narragansett Bay. Hi, I'm Tucker Thompson from T2P TV, and welcome back to the J Class Regatta Newport. This is day number 2, and behind me the crews of both Velsheda and Ranger are docking out for what looks to be a fantastic day of sailing. Crews will tune up on the actual race course itself that starts and finishes inside of Narragansett Bay. Today's race will take the boat south to the mouth of the bay, past Fort Adams and Castle Hill, and then north through the center span of the Newport Bridge and all the way around Gould Island and back. Both teams have entered the starting area as we prepare for the start of race number 2. So far, it's Ranger with a 1-0 lead. Velsheda will be looking to even the score after getting shut out above the committee vote during yesterday's start. And the spectator crowds are growing off of Fort Adams. Starting signals are now flying thanks to Brad Reed and the expert Sail Newport Race Committee. With just 2 minutes to go till the start, Velsheda tacks on to starboard to head for the line. Very possible she could be much more aggressive in this pre-start after the beginning of yesterday's race. Ranger looks like they're in trouble. Too early for the line as they head down to gain more distance. Smooth work, there's the gun. Ranger was not over, but they are going to have to luff up to make it over the pin. Velsheda right on her heels. We're into it right in the beginning of this race. Ranger calls for water before they actually run out of it. Under the rules, they have rights to tack, and Velsheda lets them go. In contrast to yesterday's start, this race is very even. Just a few feet separating these two boats as they pound upwind on port and head south out of Narragansett Bay. The two giants have run out of water again. This time it's Velsheda who asked to tack. Ranger tacks right on top, and she takes an early lead. Velsheda tacks away for clear air. For the first time, we have a split on the race course. Velsheda heads to the right in much more outgoing current. That's going to advantage her the next time the two boats meet.
Standing by, boys. Hold the barber hauler.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
When you're ready, team. Go for it, Joshy.
Okay, Beachy.
Cutting now. Becky, gone.
Watch it on this one.
Hold it. That's it. Time, mate. Thank you. The leads here.
Welcome back to the J Class Regatta Newport, where Ranger has just taken an early lead over Velsheda. We're heading south out of the mouth of Narragansett Bay. Ranger reaches the southern shore of Conanicut Island off of Beavertail Lighthouse, and America's Cup winning tactician Brad Butterworth calls for the tack. And it looks as though Velsheda has taken a bite out of Ranger's lead. The breeze and the waves have definitely increased as the boats head into the ocean. A slight left-hand shift, Brad Butterworth sees it. Ranger has tacked to port, and Velsheda has elected to set up ahead and to leeward, a conservative call. The game has not changed much. It's now a drag race on port tack. The game is getting closer as both boats tack on to starboard for the top mark. The windward mark is where the crew definitely earn their keep, particularly in breeze like this, as Ranger rounds about 3 boat lengths ahead and springs into the spinnaker set. Ken Reed is a local Newport sailing star and the skipper of the Puma Volvo Ocean Race team. We had a chance to talk to him about what it's like to sail these J-boats.
You know, I talked to Jim Clark a while ago about doing this series over the winter, and training on the J Class boat was part adventure and part just good team building for us. I actually sailed with him during the Newport bucket here last summer, and we had a good experience and liked each other, and I just think it was a good team building thing for us. But you go spend a couple weeks down in the Caribbean in the middle of the winter around here, that's not all bad. Well, from a sailing standpoint, the only real similarity is communication. You have to learn how to speak to each other in a concise, precise manner. I guess sailing tactics are fairly similar from boat to boat, but that's about where it ends. I mean, you're talking about a boat that weighs, you know, as much as Middletown, Rhode Island. It's about as dissimilar as you can get. First of all, you don't get a feeling for them until you get off the boat and look at it, and you're like, oh my God, look at the size of this thing. And then it's just the loading. So, you know, guys trimming the jib in and just the creaking and the groaning and the loads, and just get out of the way. But we were wheeling it around like we were sailing on Melgas or Netchels out here in the Tuesday night series. So by the end of sailing it for a couple of weeks, we really felt quite comfortable, which was fun. Every day it's like, geez, we're kind of sailing this like a normal boat. You kind of lose that fear of a block exploding and, you know, tearing a hole in the side of the boat. The history of sailing is a huge part of what this place is. And having the J-boats back here, the history of the America's Cup here, of course, and the history of match racing, and, you know, just having those 2 boats out in a historical event like this, obviously it's good for sailing and it's great for the area. Well, from a sailing standpoint, you know, northerly is going to be interesting because it's very shifty. Maybe sail up in Narragansett Bay. Do you take every shift or you kind of ignore them? Because maneuvering is a big challenge. Out in the ocean, it'll be a drag race. You know, it'll be probably tack once or twice a beat and hope you're faster. In a northerly, you can get away with being smarter, but I think in a southerly, you just simply have to be faster. I think these 2 boats that are racing in the regatta, one of them kind of has a little better condition than another, so hopefully it's close and it'll make better for us spectators.
Back in the race, the game is still the same as both boats power reach towards mark number 2. At the next mark, the delta only about 2 boat lengths. Velsheda is definitely gaining ground as she prepares to jibe behind Ranger. This maneuver is one of the most difficult in sailing, requiring the entire 30-plus crew aboard. 4 or 5 bowmen up on the front, disconnecting and then reconnecting the pole, the trimmers, all of them in the middle of the boat, grinding that sail from one side to the other, and the main comes across. Ronald DeWall at the helm does a beautiful job. We're on board with Ranger. That's owner John Williams sitting in front of the cabin house. He'll be happy with this view. At the helm is the captain, Alistair Tate. No longer is professional sailor Earl Williams driving, so they're not using the driver handicap anymore. It's boat for boat and Rangers ahead. So it's Ranger leading Velsheda back into the mouth of Narragansett Bay. The first landmark, Castle Hill Light, greets the boats. Velsheda trails Ranger by only 2 lengths, and now the teams get aggressive into a jibing duel here at Narragansett Bay. In a match race, the advantage shifts to the trailing boat downwind, who can blanket the breeze of the lead boat, and Velsheda is doing just that. She is reeling in the distance. She is grinding down Ranger, and the race is now dead even. Wow, what a race. The normal defensive move for the leeward boat, Ranger, would be to jibe away for clear air, but the boats have to go through the start-finish line gate first. Ranger is in trouble. The crowds off of Fort Adams State Park must be going wild at this point as 2 magnificent J-boats reach just past them. Here's the move through the gate. Ranger finally gets a chance to jibe. Her air clear. She might be taking a lead because now she'll be able to blanket Velsheda, who jibes to leeward. This race is incredibly close. The next checkpoint, the Newport Bay Bridge. It has been touch and go so far on this downwind run, but Ranger has just managed to pull forward enough to keep her air clear. Stay between your man and the hoop is the call in match racing, and that's exactly what Ranger's doing. Here comes the move we've been waiting for. Velsheda is going to jibe first and force Ranger into a decision to jibe or extend before getting to the island. Now it's Ranger's turn, but Velsheda has already jibed back. She's set up to pounce on top of Ranger's breeze when the 2 boats meet again. J Class Secretary David Pittman used to race on Velsheda for many, many years. He told me this crew likes to push the spinnaker drop to the very last second. That's exactly what Velsheda's doing at this point, and it could be a major move to reel Ranger in at the mark.
That's it, boys, that's it.
The northern side of Gould Island. We passed it yesterday from left to right. Now the boats in reverse order. It's Ranger ahead by only a length and a half. These giant J's have some of the largest crews in sailing. And sometimes even they don't know just how many people are aboard.
Just the sheer size and weight of this boat makes it a whole different animal to sail as far as the load's concerned, the amount of people.
Crew, we usually race with around about 25.
35.
Sometimes 30.
Well, we have sailed with 45 once.
I'm not sure exactly. I know there's a lot.
There's an afterguard.
There's about 5 or 6 bowmen on board the boat, really.
There's a foredeck, and then there's a mid-guard. That's that whole group in the middle. There's about 20 people in there trimming.
And then you've got sort of mid-bowmen.
To move a kite forward, it's me and 6 of my best friends.
And then moving back, you've got sort of the speed team.
And then you had about 50 guys running around with all block and tackle to pull the sails in and out.
There's probably definitely 15 to 20 guys pulling on something. We like to keep it down to about 37. Probably on most days we might have like a full crew of like 36.
You know, you got to do a head count when you leave and one when you get back.
Centered up on the middle of the racetrack, looking upwind. Velsheda knows she's got to make something happen. Tom Dodson, the tactician, calls for attack to keep the game in the middle, keep her options open. Now it's Ranger's turn to make a move, and she does, tacking right on top of Velsheda. Two tacks later, and it is still Ranger's race. Back under the bridge we go, and the finish line is in sight. Yesterday was Ranger's race, and today is as well, as she wins race number 2. Not a minute behind, the beautiful Velsheda crosses the line in second. So as day number 2 comes to a close, it's Ranger who takes a 2-0 lead over Velsheda. But there's still 3 more days of racing to come, and anything can happen. For now, I'm Tucker Thompson. Thanks for joining us.